Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining today. We're going to take a little bit of your time today to walk through AAM's Ethical AI Certification Program, really a publisher member focused designed certification program for the ethical use of AI. Aaron, if you want to go to the next slide, thank you. So I am a presenter today. My name is Adam Grabati. I oversee media operations at AAM. Really, that entails, the ingestion and translation and reporting data for our media members by way of the news media and publisher statements, as well as the Media Intelligence Center and the auditing of that information. So I work with our account folks, our account directors. I work with our audit managers and our audit teams. I work with our production department that ingests that data and produces those reports, and currently overseeing the operation of the Ethical AI Certification Program. I joined AAM a few years ago through the merger with BPA. Was with BPA starting in 2003, starting as a media auditor and holding a few different roles there as well. And so thought we'd do a quick slide about AAM. I'm sure most folks are familiar with the organization, but perhaps a little information here you may not know. Originally founded by the ANA for purposes of bringing trust to advice, now the largest not-for-profit organization in the industry. We are driven by buyer demand, so the majority of our board directors are on the buy side, including 3 major agencies, holding companies, as well as the ANA. Currently, we verify and report data for over 1,000 publishers, so not just print and digital publications for magazines and trade pubs and news media, but also cross-channel reports of their audience data, including websites, email newsletters, events in person and virtual, apps, and really the reports are really open to any channels that our members are using to deliver content to their audiences. In addition to that, we are also providing certifications for established and emerging topics. So we do industry assurance programs to address measurement, brand safety, as well as sustainability, and now ethical AI, as we'll talk about today, and more. So why ethical AI matters for media? So in AAM's discussions with clients and industry leaders, there was a number of challenges that were revealed around implementing AI in publishing. So AI adoption is accelerating, as I'm sure everyone knows, and being integrated across local media operations. There's regulatory pressure and calls for AI guidelines in journalism. Advertisers and audiences are asking questions about AI, how AI is being implemented, and whether safeguards are in place to minimize risk of bias, protect privacy, and ensure accuracy of AI output. And media companies are using AI to boost efficiency, but are seeking best practices to maintain trust and transparency with readers and advertisers. So it's just some we thought interesting numbers that we wanted to share with you, things that have been in trades. You may have also seen them. Local Media Association published a study back in November of 2025. And from that study, they indicated that 98.8% of the folks they spoke with want a human to be involved in a newsroom's use of AI. From the WARC's consumer trends of this year, 78% consider it very important for AI-generated content to be labeled. And from the LMA's Trusting News survey of this year, 85% believe that writing stories without human review is not acceptable. A few more stats here. Advertisers also have questions about how AI is being implemented and monitored. 70% of marketers have reported having at least one AI incident. So that falls into common problems like hallucinated outputs, as well as others reporting loss of creative control and failures in regulatory compliance. So as AI adoption is surging in advertising, we're wondering if the industry is prepared for responsible use of AI. IAB research in 2025 had the statistic of 46% of agencies lacking a formal AI planning roadmap. And, the Association of National Advertisers also had the statistic of 94% of marketers wanting more AI safeguards. And again, having these conversations with our clients and folks in the industry, we're learning more about challenges when implementing AI. So these are some quotes here that we got directly from our members, talking about trust being their asset, challenges with disclosure, or how having AI policy helps them and helps them and their readers feel like they have a level of transparency and trust. So it's trust from the publishers and the advertisers, is trust from the publishers to consumers. So with that, AAM went to work to create this certification program. So it's really an ethical AI framework, as we refer to it. So it's the idea of best practices and guidelines, the idea of it being built by the industry with the feedback of our members and those within the industry, but also for the industry. When implemented together, the 8 pillars that compose the framework provide a strong foundation to help media companies implement AI, strengthening trust with audiences and partners. One of the great things about the program is that it can scaled to apply to any organization, no matter their size or how they use AI. So here are the 8 pillars as they're presented on this slide. So establish and publish AI policies, transparency and disclosures, rights and permissions, accountability and human oversight, bias and fairness, privacy and data protection, training and education, and risk management. So for the rest of the presentation, we're going to go through these one by one. And I'll give you some notes and a little bit of background on them, but I think probably what's the best takeaway as we go through these is that each slide has an example, real life example of folks that are meeting the requirements of the certification. So it's one thing to talk about the program and give you some details and some background. For me, I think it's quite valuable to be able to see some examples of real world examples of folks that are have policies in place and procedures in place to meet the requirements of the certification program. So the first one is ethical AI policies. So here, the framework is looking for organizations to develop, maintain, and document internal policies governing the use of AI technologies across the enterprise. So these policies should clearly define acceptable and prohibited uses of AI, the scope of AI applications. So are we talking content creation or research or optimization, authorized AI solutions, and roles and responsibilities for oversight and compliance. So the idea that policies will apply across departments and subsidiaries where AI is used in content creation, advertising, and consumer interaction. In addition to that, the framework is looking for organizations to have a formal review process of their AI use policies, at least annually. In conversations we're having, it sounds like folks that have these policies in place already are doing it more frequently, maybe at least monthly, as the technology and the use of the technology evolves pretty quickly. But at least annually or more frequently when there are material changes in the technology, the regulation, or business practices. The framework really looks for documentation of this as well. So documenting the review process and ensuring that there's senior level oversight to ensure accountability and buy-in throughout the organization. The second pillar is transparency and disclosures. So here, the framework is looking for organizations to publicly disclose their general use of generative AI, including AI-generated text, images, video, audio, and synthetic or conversational interactions. These disclosures should be accessible without restricted access, describe AI use at a high level, including clear language, and apply across owned and operated properties. So the goal here is to enable reasonable consumer understanding of where and how AI is being used. In addition to that, we're looking for content level AI disclosures when AI materially shapes the content. If AI is being used in a way that could mislead consumers about authenticity or identity or representation, organizations should provide content level disclosures. So that's included, but not limited to 100% synthetic copy, AI generated images, videos, voices, what's referred to as digital twins or digital replicas of real people, and AI-powered chatbots or conversational agents used in advertising. Just a note here, pre and post-production uses such as research or editing or technical enhancement that do not alter meaning do not require content level disclosures. In addition to that, looking for the disclosures to be implemented in ways that are accessible across formats, whether it be visual or audio, and accessibility requirements when being met, including alternate text and visual equivalents where applicable. Also, the idea that disclosure should not be obscured by the platform interface elements or design choices. The third pillar is rights and permissions. So the idea that organizations are confirming that they have the appropriate rights and licenses or content to use data, voices, likenesses, and AI systems. The authorization does not replace or negate disclosure requirements, but the documentation of permissions are maintained and available for review for purposes of the certification program. The fourth pillar is accountability and human oversight. So this is where we have that human in the loop component. So with AI-assisted processes, we want to make sure that they're subjected to human oversight throughout research, production, review, and publication. It's also important that the oversight responsibilities are assigned to individuals or teams with sufficient authority to enforce the compliance and address any issues. It's also important to designate an AI disclosure lead, so to have someone that's in charge of this process, act as the central internal resource for AI policy interpretation, disclosure guidance, and compliance coordination. Preferably clearly positioned within the organization and supported by appropriate authority and resources. The fifth pillar is bias and fairness. So this is really applicable to those organizations that are building, training, or modifying AI models to implement processes to identify and mitigate bias. Based on the conversations we've had so far, we think most folks are more applicable to that rights and permissions section where they're going out and acquiring the AI tools to do their work. But to ensure that the framework is applicable to organizations of all sizes, as we referenced earlier, there may be some folks out there that are actually building and training their own AI models. So we want to make sure we included a part of the certification process that shows that they have some governance and risk management practices when it comes to addressing, identifying, and mitigating bias in those systems that they're creating. The sixth pillar is privacy and data protection. So this really applies when publishers are using their AI systems and giving them access and to process consumer data, ensuring that there's some compliance with applicable privacy and data protection laws. Looking for controls that address data access, retention, security, and third-party risk that are consistent with existing privacy programs. The seventh pillar, training and education. So this is the idea that the organization is providing ongoing AI training, implementing training programs that cover general AI awareness for employees, including acceptable risks and usage, as well as role-specific or proficiency training for individuals responsible for developing, deploying, and overseeing AI systems. And so this is where the AI disclosure lead will come in to support targeted training to the teams involved in content creation, production, and distribution. And again, as part of the certification program, really what we're looking at, not only is this happening, but it's being documented as well. So there's a scheduled cadence and an applicable methodology that's being applied to the training programs for the applicable individuals. And lastly, risk management. So the idea of integrating AI into enterprise risk management programs. So really the framework is looking for incorporation of AI risks into the existing management framework, including understanding applicable legal and regulatory requirements, integrating trustworthy AI principles into policies and processes, defining roles and responsibilities and review cadence, and establishing escalation and contingency plans for high-risk AI or third-party failures. Probably the most important part of this process is ensuring that these practices evolve as AI technologies, regulations, and industry expectations change. And so not only are these policies having the pillars, having these policies built in of evolution and change, that's how we see this framework working as well. The framework is in a great place to launch for our members, our publisher members. It's can be applicable to organizations of all sizes and places in the AI journey as they are now. But we're prepared to adapt it. It's going to iterate. It's going to evolve as AI technologies change, as their uses change, whether or not we see regulation come in, as well as industry and I would say consumer expectations about the usage of AI and the transparency and disclosure of the usage of AI. So this slide is a little bit about an action plan, right? So the idea of implementing the ethical AI pillars. So there's a few bullet points in here, some guidance as to developing an action plan that will both give you a good basis for ethical AI usage, and then also for satisfying the requirements of the certification and becoming certified. And you'll see as we go through these, they really tick and tie directly to the 8 pillars that we just walked through. So formation of an internal AI committee, drafting core AI policies and usage guidelines, developing a disclosure strategy, ensuring we have the human in the loop and the oversight on the workflows, creating a plan to implement staff training, and then reviewing risks regularly. So really, this is kind of our capstone slide here about the ethical AI certification program. So what we see it as working as a way for media companies to demonstrate their commitment to implementing AI responsibly. It gives us a great standardized framework for accountability and ethical governance. Going through the certification program is giving you that independent verification of internal policies and processes, and that third-party assurance to partners that the organization manages AI responsibly and aligns with industry best practices. So from our perspective and the conversations we've had with our clients, the benefits: strengthening brand trust and transparency, mitigating risk and regulatory challenges, and supporting ongoing innovation with accountability. Some additional resources. This is our AAM Assurance Outlook in regards to ethical AI. The guide to current trends and challenges. You can download this at the link provided, or if you want to scan that QR code, that'll take you to the download of this document that we believe is a great resource, speaking to about the industry trends in implementing AI. And tying back to the ethical AI certification program. So with that, I'm out of slides and I'm out of notes. Happy to address any questions that anyone has at the moment. I'm going to take this as meaning I did a fantastic job and have proactively answered all of your questions. We'll hang for another minute if anybody has any questions. If not, I thank you very much for joining us today. If you have any questions that come up later on, please feel free to reach out to me, and we'll do our best to address your questions. If you want to jump right in this right away, which I'm sure everybody does, again, you can reach out to me, and we'll get you started on the certification program.